might think that getting into the IT field is impossible without a computer science degree, but Tech Coach Ralph is here to prove you wrong. Get ready for some jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into this lucrative industry. Listen up, tech enthusiasts! Are you ready to break through into the IT field, but feel like you need a computer science degree to make it happen? Think again! Tech Coach Ralph has some exclusive, mind-blowing secrets to share with you. Get ready to be blown away by his jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into the tech industry without a computer science degree. So get your notepad ready, because Tech Coach Ralph is going to change your life forever. Buckle up, because you're about to embark on a journey to success in the IT field.
Money. Hey.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everyone doing today? Today is Saturday, June 29th. We have 1 day left in June. Can you believe that? 1 day left in June. We are past the midway point of the year. We are on the downside of wrapping up 2024. We're just into it, but 2024 it's almost over. It's closer to being over than it has begun. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's get it. Let's run it up. All right. So today is what's the name of today's show? Today is the Men Lie, Women Lie, Numbers Manipulate, and we are going to get it in. If you do not know who I am your host of the show and of the channel. I am Tech Coach Ralph, where above all else, we are engineered to win. And clap it up, clap it up, clap it up for winning, for, doing what we have to do to be successful. We do not take any days off. We keep our foot on the gas. We keep our foot on their necks. We don't miss. We don't miss. And today we're going to be talking about some numbers. Let's go into looking into what we're going to review, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait until my friends get here, because there's like a 30-second soundbite that I want you guys to listen to. I was floored. I was absolutely floored by when I heard this from our people across the pond, right? And I was like, did he really just say that? So once Mitch gets here, right, we're going to investigate that. I'm just going to play the soundbite because I can't show the screen. Oh my God. My guy, your car is in the building, and he hits us up early this morning, 9:27 for us, 6:27 for my guy, your car, hits us up with the first super chat of the day, a $10 super chat that says, "I appreciate you. Many blessings, brother." Stop the presses. Your car, you know that.
I appreciate you.
The feeling is mutual. We are going to run it up because
We the best.
yes, we are. And we got my guy in the building. Mitch is here. He says, take off the blazer, loosen up the tie. Superman is alive. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. But shout out to your car with the $10 super chat. I so much appreciate you for all your support, all the work that we do together. We have a lot of fun, but we also get a lot of work done because we don't miss. All right. So you know what? I've been thinking I might have to put that on the t-shirt. We don't miss. Anyhow. So now that your car and Mitch is here, I got the whole crew already, right? So I'm just gonna play. I might play this as more people come in later on, but I just wanted to play this little soundbite that I heard. It's a longer video, but I couldn't find the exact video, but I have it here, right? And you guys listen to this, right? Listen to this, right? So this video. It's from CNN International. I couldn't find it, but like they're reporting from CNN London, right? And they're talking about the presidential debate fallout. And listen to this real quick. Listen to this real quick.
Into a more dangerous period.
Let me make it louder. Let me make it louder. Let's go here.
I said that before, but he is talking again about trying to get more money from NATO countries. You don't get money from NATO countries. They commit to spending more of their defense spending. No one gets there isn't a big pot of money, and the United States didn't put 100% in, or nearly 100%, as Donald Trump said. It was about 71% at the time. NATO has increased.
All right. Did you guys hear that? I'm like, I thought, am I the? I mean, this was the perfect show for it, because this is the numbers show, the money show, right? And this guy says that the U.S. didn't put in 100% or near 100%, right? I'm like, okay, fine. No, that is not Piers Morgan. It's some guy, Nick something. I don't know. But he's probably popular in London on CNN and stuff like that, right? But Mitch, are you trying to say they all sound the same? Thank you. Like, I was like, wait a second. We didn't put in 100% or nearly 100%, right? The United States, we put in 71%. Yes, he said 71%. I'm like, for me, that might as well be 100%. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I was like, I thought I was crazy for a second there. I'm like, he's like, they didn't put in 100%. They put in 71%. I'm like, so you're telling me we put it, like, the U.S. put in 71%, while all the other countries put in 29, not even a 30%, a 29%. I was like, bruh, are you? Did you really just sit up on London's CNN national TV and say that? Like, I don't know. I was speechless. Just like I'm like, did he really just say that? Let me see what your card says. He says, check out World Population Review, NATO. Oh, okay, cool. Awesome. Let's pivot real quick. Let me see. Can I get this? So, I can't copy from here. Oh, I can't copy. All right, visit link. Let me do that. So let's go to visit link. And, let's start off with this real quick. You see how we can pivot? I love being agile, right? So let's take a look at that real quick. So let's go over to... So this link we just got from your car, it is World Population Review, country rankings, NATO spending by country. So let's see, GDP, a percentage of GDP of 2023. The U.S. is at 4%, and this must be Canada. They are at, what is orange? All right, so the U.S. is 3.49. And this is Canada at 1.38. We have Turkey at 1.31. We have Spain at 1.26. We have Germany at 1.57. We have Romania, all right, a little better than the rest, at 2.44% of their GDP. Although that's like not that much money, but hey, it's a small country. We have Poland at 3.9%. Now, they might not have a lot of money for that 3.9%, but it is 3.9%. Let's see. We have, who's this? This is Norway at 1.67. Finland at 2.45. All right, you're like this, you're up there a little bit. And your card says the defense spending for the U.S. is that billion? 860. What is that number? Let me see. What is this number in? They should say. Yep. I get you. $30,000. What is that? What is that number in though? It's not it's not 860,000. Is that billion? Million? Let's see. 2.07. Let me zoom in on this a little bit. Yep. I scroll down. Let's see. So let's just read. Let's read this. Slide pivot. Let's read this. We had about an hour and 45 minutes ago. So the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, or NATO, is a military and political alliance used to guarantee each of its members security and freedom. Created after World War II, the goal of NATO is to promote democratic values, cooperate on defense and security issues, and to build trust amongst members. This, in turn, helps prevent conflict from occurring. NATO also promotes a peaceful resolution to disputes. However, if diplomatic efforts do not work, the military alliance is used for crisis management operations. So it's millions times. All right. So it's 8 points. Our defense. So the United States defense budget is $8.6 billion. Right. All right, so as of 2022, there are 30 members of NATO. Those nations include Albania, Belgium, Bulgaria, Canada, Croatia, Czech Republic, Denmark, Estonia, France, Germany, Greece, Hungary, Iceland, which has no standing military. Well, you're going to have to get that up, buddy. You're going to have to do something about that. Italy, Latvia, Lithuania, Luxembourg, Montenegro, Netherlands, North Macedonia, not to be confused with South Macedonia, Norway, Poland, Portugal, Romania, Slovakia, Slovenia, Spain, Turkey, United Kingdoms, and, coming in last, although we pay the most, is the United States of America. All right, so minimum requirements, defense spending by NATO countries. During the 2014 summit, all NATO members agreed to at least 2% of their GDPs on defense by 2025. In 2017, only 4 nations met the threshold. The U.S. with 3.6%, Greece with 2.4%, the United Kingdom with 2.1%, just barely made it in there, and Poland with 2% flat on the dot. Now that is penny crunching, right? They're like, we're going to hit the 2% and nothing more, nothing less. However, by 2021, 10 countries were meeting the percentage target. All right, you other 20 countries, you got to get your numbers up. Top 10 NATO countries with highest defense expenditure by percentage of 2021. Poland at 3.9. See, to me at least, tell me if I'm wrong here, Mitch, in your card. This is where the numbers manipulate, right? Because it says, all right, 3.9% for Poland, right? However, what is 3.9% of, where are you, Poland? Is that you right there, Poland? Yeah, Poland. What is 3.9% of, if 860 is 860,000 is 8.6 billion. So this would be like less. So their defense spending is like less than it would be like 29 million or something like that. Yeah, like 29 million. So their defense, it's not, compared to the U.S., ours is, so. But at least they're at 3.9. They're putting that money in. The U.S. at 3.49, Greece 3.0, yada yada yada. All right, so. Top 10 NATO countries with the highest defense expenditure by total: 860 billion for the US, 68 million for Germany, 65 for the UK, France with 56, Turkey down there with 15 million. Interesting. So, 8.6 billion is what we put in 8. No way. No, that can't be right. This cannot be right, Yakar. We put in $8.6 billion into NATO. I mean, can't we just spend that 8.6 million and buy up all the other countries? I don't know. Can we buy a Turkey or something? I don't know. Like 8.6 billion into NATO. So that means that these other countries. So Germany's putting in 68 million, or 680 million. I wish it would just give me the numbers in billions, But yeah, my goodness, interesting. Defense spending in millions. And your card says these numbers are the country put into NATO, not the national budget. Gotcha. That's wild to me. That is wild to me. Oof. Anyhow, your card says big bank takes little bank. Tell me about it. Tell me. Just because of that, I'm going to play this one more time because now that we have a little bit more context into this, let's go with...
About trying to get more money from NATO countries. You don't get money from NATO countries. They commit to spending more of their defense spending. No one gets there isn't a big pot of money, and the United States didn't put 100% in, or nearly 100%, as Donald Trump said. It was about 71% at the time.
We had to play that back with a little bit more context, right? Do I know a lot about defense spending and finances and political stuff? No, I don't. But I do know a little bit about, I did take calculus in high school and in college. And I think I'm qualified to know that 71% is a lot. 71% is closer to 100% than it is to 0%. All right. I'm just saying.
Bruh.
All right. I'm gonna keep this clip up throughout the. You are right, your car. I thought about this, but I was just so shocked and stupefied.
How dare you?
How dare you? How dare you? All right. Anyways, let's get to our numbers this week because this is just too much. This is just too much. All right. So we are going to get to the numbers that we are watching for the week. But first, if you haven't done so already, do me a big favor. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can know every single time that we go live and drop new content. And check out the Patreon, www.techcoachralph.dev, where you can sign up for the Patreon and get access to exclusive content, as well as sign up for one-on-one coaching with me where we can work together. We can run it up. All right. With that being said, let's get to our numbers that we're watching for this week. All right. All right. So actually, let me use the other screen for this one. Let's go with this screen. So the numbers that we're going to be watching for this week, which they're already out, so we're just going to be checking in on these numbers, and I'll let you know which ones I'm going to leave out one of them because we review it every single week. But inflation will be front and center this week, with the Federal Reserve preferred gauge expected to show slower price growth in May. The U.S. Personal Consumption Expenditure Index. The U.S. Personal Consumption Expenditure Index, excluding volatile items such as fuel, likely rose at an annual rate of 2.6% last month, down from 2.8% in April, according to an estimate by the Federal Reserve Bank of Cleveland on Friday. A cooler reading after months of stickiness would be a relief to consumers and the Feds. Retail sales have flagged recently amid high inflation, as well as interest rates imposed by the central bank to slow price growth. All right, so let's see. So we had from Tuesday, June 25th, the Conference Board released its monthly consumer confidence survey, which measures how optimistic Americans are about the economy, which we can probably kind of juxtapose that against the University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment Index, and we'll see how that goes. Wednesday, June 26th, the U.S. Census Bureau released the key housing market indicators, including the number of new single homes sold and number of new building permits issued by the government in May. On June 27th, Thursday, June 27th, the U.S. Department of Labor released the initial jobless claims for the previous week. It's a report, a proxy of layoffs, tracks the number of people filing for unemployment. So it's pretty much asking for, it's showing the number of people who have been laid off that week and are asking the government for help, through unemployment claims. And then we have also the Bureau of, so we're going to leave this one out for today because we have, we review this every single week and there's a lot on the docket for today. So we're going to leave this one out. So let's keep going. The Bureau of Economic Analysis will release a final gross domestic product reading for the first quarter. And we'll dig into a little bit what is the gross domestic product, how to break that down. The U.S. Census Bureau will release its monthly report on durable goods, which measures manufacturing activity. I have to make sure I have that one. I think I do. And then we have the U.S. Department of Commerce will release the May's Personal Consumption Expenditure Index, the Fed's preferred inflation measure. The report measures changes in the price of goods and services, excluding food and energy, which I think it would be probably good to have food and energy in there. And lastly, the University of Michigan will release its final reading of June's Consumer Sentiment Index, which measures how Americans feel about the current and future economic conditions. So we're going to go through those. Probably not going to spend too much time on this one because we reviewed this like last week. This is the final reading. We'll see what the numbers are, but we have a pretty good gauge of what that stands for. So we'll take a quick look at it. But that is the plan for today. So with that being said, let's hop in and get to work. Let me zoom in on this. And we are going to switch screens to that screen. Cool. So we're looking at this one. All right, cool. So let's zoom in on this one. And so the Conference Board releasing the monthly confidence survey, how Americans feel about the economy. So let's do a quick rundown. So the Conference Board Consumer Confidence Survey is like a big opinion poll that asks people how they feel. And we get every time we talk about feelings, we have to play that small, tiny violin. Says how they feel about the economy. It's important because it helps us understand if people are feeling good or bad about spending money. Here's a simple breakdown. So what is it? A survey that asks a lot of people questions about how they feel about their money situation. Money, talking about money.
Money.
So what questions do they ask? So they ask like, right, do you think you'll get a better job soon? Do you think the economy will get better or worse? Are you planning on buying a big item like a car or a house? And why is this important, right? Why should we care about this? I always like to ask, okay, why should I care? It gives us clues about how people might spend their money. It's pocket watching, If people feel confident, they are more likely to buy things, which helps businesses and the economy grow. If people are worried, they might save their money instead of spending it, which can slow down the economy. So it's like asking a lot of people how they feel about their money and the future, and their answers help us predict what might happen in the economy, right? So with that being said, let's take a look at this report. All right, so the report... Get out of here. What are you doing here? All right. So the report says U.S. consumer confidence weakens slightly in June. Consumers' persistent concerns about the future continues to weigh on confidence. The conference, imagine if they had seen the debate. The Conference Board's Consumer Confidence Index dipped in June to 100.4. 1985 is 100, down from 101.3 in May. The Present Situation Index, based on consumer assessment of the current business and labor markets conditions. Let's see, can I zoom in a little bit more on that? All right, let's zoom in. All right, cool. So, let's see. The present situation index, based on consumer assessment of current business and labor market conditions, increased to 141.5. 1985 was 100 from 140.8 last month. However, the expectations index, based on consumers' short-term outlook for income, business, and labor market conditions, fell to 73. 1985 was 100 in June, down from 74.9 in May. The expectation index has been below 80. The threshold, which usually signals a recession, is ahead for 5 consecutive months. Confidence pulled back in June, but remained within a small, narrow range that held throughout the past 2 years as strength in current labor market views continue to outweigh concerns about the future. However, if material weaknesses in the labor market appear, confidence could be weakened as the year progresses. And this was said by Dana M. Peterson, chief economist at the conference board. Consumers express mixed feelings, mixed feelings. The consumers expressed mixed feelings this month. Their view of the present situation improved slightly overall, driven by an uptick in sentiment about the current labor market, but their assessment of current business conditions cooled. Meanwhile, for the second month in a row, consumers were a bit less pessimistic about the future labor market conditions. However, their expectation for both future income and business conditions weakened, weighing down the overall expectations index. The decline in confidence between May and June was centered on consumers aged 35 to 54. By contrast, those under 35 and those 55 and older saw confidence improve this month. No clear pattern emerged in terms of income groups. On a 6-month moving average basis, confidence continued to be highest amongst the youngest under 35. They're so optimistic and stuff, and the wealthiest, making over $100,000 consumers. All right, so the consumer confidence index, right? Your car says that whole entire paragraph contradicts itself.
Congratulations. You played yourself.
I don't know what to tell you, your car. I don't know what to tell you about that. All right. So we are here, and consumer confidence is at it's all teetering at 100, right? So Peterson added, compared to May, consumers were less concerned about forthcoming recession. However, consumer assessment of their family's financial situation, both current and over the next 6 months, was less positive. These measures are not included in calculating the consumer confidence index. Average 12-month inflation expectations ticked down slightly from 5.4% to 5.3%. June's writing responses revealed that elevated prices, especially for food and groceries, continue to impact consumers' views of the economy, followed by the labor market and the U.S. political situation. Notably, the share of respondents believing the 2024 election would impact the economy was low in comparison to write-ins in June of 2016 and slightly higher in 2020. So, I wonder what that means. What does that mean? If they were concerned in June of 2016 and slightly higher in 2020, what does that mean about what the consumers are saying based on this, believing the elections would have a less impact? Interesting things to ponder about. All right. So consumers were positive about the stock market, with 48.4% expecting stock prices to increase over the year, compared to 23.5% expecting a decrease and 28.1% expecting no change at all. Meanwhile, the share of consumers expecting higher interest rates over the next 12 months dropped to 52.6%, its lowest since February. On a 6-month moving average basis, purchasing plans for homes were largely unchanged and remained historically low in June. Buying plans it's hard to see someone buying a house with these interest rates in the price of homes, which we're going to get into a little bit later in the show. Buying plans for cars also stalled. Meanwhile, buying plans for most big ticket appliances and smartphones increased slightly, though fewer consumers plan to buy a laptop or a PC. The share of consumers planning a vacation over the next 6 months continue to increase. What? They are increasing? I guess they got the money. All right. So, and remains above last June's level. More consumers planned to vacation in the United States than abroad, keeping it a little bit cheaper. Not everyone wants to take a trip to Tulum, wherever that might be. As in recent years, or Belize, somewhere in South America, according to our wonderful DA in Fulton County, Georgia. Not my DA. I just know of them from Fulton County, Georgia. All right. So overall, the share of consumers planning to go on vacation is still about 10% points lower than pre-pandemic. All right. So the present situation. So your car also said, hold on, your car says, let's jump into this. It says, did that just say the family's financial situation is not included in the calculating of consumer confidence index? It sure did. It sure did. Look at your car caught that. Shout out to your car for catching that. Great catch, your car. Yes. The family's financial situation, I believe it said it is not included, right? It's not included. So let's go back real quick. Let's go. Who's that writing me? Yes. Let me get off Discord. Let me close out all these things. Why are these things open? Hold on. These things take up memory. All right. So it said, according, where was that? So however, consumers' assessment of their family's financial situation, both currently and over the next 6 months, was less positive. These measures are not included in calculating the. Yes, you are right. You are right, your car. All right. So overall, the share of consumers planning to go on vacation is still about 10 percentage points lower than pre-pandemic. The present situation, consumers' assessments of current business conditions was, on balance, slightly less positive in June. 19.6% of consumers said business conditions were good, down from 20.8% in May, less than 1%. But 17.7% said business conditions were bad. They were bad. Also down from 18.4% last month, which is, so that means less people say it's bad. So that's good. Consumers' appraisal of the labor market improved in June. 38.1% of consumers said jobs were plentiful. Yeah. Up from 37% in May. So a full 1.1% said that jobs were plentiful. And 14.1% said jobs were hard to get. However, that's down from 14.3% in May. All right. So this is the chart of the present situation expectations index. Mitch hit us with a, why isn't vacation / trips included? All these people using bill money to take trips. Did it say it wasn't included? Let me see. Let's see. Vacation. The share of consumers planning a vacation over the next 6 months continue to increase and remain above last June's level. More consumers plan to vacation in the U.S. and abroad, as in recent years, and more people plan to travel by car than by plane. Overall, was it not included? It looks like it's included. I'm not 100%, but it looks like it's included. But let's see. So. Let's see. And Mitch also says, your president says the economy is good. The economy is, what are you talking about? The economy is, don't you see how the customers feel, how they feel about the economy? It is I pressed the wrong button. It happens sometimes, it happens. Let me get this timer off the screen. I don't need this timer. Shoot. I'm messing everything up. Hold on. Let me move this down to, let's go at 20. All right, let's go here. All right, I'm messing everything up. Jeez. All right. Let's go to this one is up. All right, there we go. There we go. So, yes, the economy is doing great. The economy is booming. Mitch, what are you talking about? And your car says, well, they would have to include booger sugar, all recreational drugs, and prostitution as well. Ooh, can we say that on YouTube? I don't know. But, Mitch says, the other activities. And your car says, they don't pay for the trips. They are putting them on Afterpay. And then Mitch is going to say, Afterpay is predatory lending.
Bruh.
I'm just saying. The best presidential movie is Head of State and White House Down. You know what? When I heard that soundbite from that CNN thing, I thought about Bernie Mac in Head of State and like NATO. I don't know NATO. I don't talk about people I don't know. I should have found the clip for that one because that would have been a good one. That would have been a good one about it. Anyways, let's continue. Let's see. Is that the one with is White House Down with Jamie Foxx? So Head of State is with Bernie Mac and Chris Rock. Is Head of State? I don't remember if Head of State is with says we went over a story about on the Millionaire Morning Show. But yeah, I don't remember. And it says no, Afterpay is not predatory lending. I try. Who NATO? I don't know no NATO. I don't talk about people I don't know. That's exactly how it went. Anyway, let's keep going with this. All right. So, consumers were less optimistic about the short-term business conditions outlook in June. All right. So, 12.5% of consumers expected business conditions to improve, down from 13.7% in May. 16.7% expected business conditions to worsen, down from 16.9%. These numbers are not moving too much. But I would say we have a greater percentage gap of who think it's going to improve than those who think it's going to worsen. Consumers' assessment of short-term labor market outlook was a tad less negative in May, 12.6% versus the 13.1%, and then 17.3% anticipated fewer jobs, down from 18.8%. And consumer assessment of their short-term income prospects deteriorated in June. 15.2% of consumers expected their incomes to increase, down from 17.7% in May. And more people expected their incomes to decrease, up from 11.5%. So here's a question to the chat. Right? Would you consider your income decreasing if, let's say, you get a $5,000 raise from your job, right? However, due to inflation and whatever things like that, or let's say you own a home and your homeowner's insurance goes up, your taxes go up, and your just regular inflation, like price of food, everything like that, gas prices go up and all that, right? So now all these increases in price, they end up they cost you $10,000. Would you consider that being a decrease in income if you get a $5,000 raise, but all the new expenses from like all of inflation and prices going up cost you $10,000 for the year? So you're at negative $5,000. So would you take that as an income decrease? I don't know. Anyhow, let's see. So family current financial situation. So consumers' assessments of their family's financial situation going forward was virtually unchanged. Families' expected financial situation 6 months or more. The perceived likelihood of a U.S. recession over the next 12 months pulled back in June after rising both May and April. So if people felt that there was a recession coming in the prior months, but it pulled back in June, what does that say? What are the people telling us? Let's see. So I wish this went back further. I wish I could see like way further back, in particularly between 2017 to 2021 I would like to see. But let's keep going. All right, so that's it. That is our Conference Board Consumer Confidence Survey. All right, so let's get a drink. All right, so let's see. Let's finish up with the chat to see what Mitch in your car was saying. And Mitch says, with all entirely every single ounce of due respect possible in the world, stay in your lane.
Bruh.
You know what? If you guys, I'm sure you guys used to watch Family Matters, you know, and when Steve would be leaving, he goes, "Oh, I get the picture. I know where I'm not wanted. I'm going home." Right? You know, I see how it is. I see how it is. You know, just trying to expand, and Mitch is like, Mitch just told me this. This is what Mitch just told me. He said.
It doesn't matter what you think.
And not only that, he also said,
You should know your role and shut your mouth.
it is all good in the hood, Mitch. It is all good. All right. And Mitch also says, I think things will improve by the end of year/next year. Why is that, Mitch? Why do you think things are going to improve? What possible reason that you have that things might just improve by the end of the year or next year? Just curious. And your car says facts. Your car, why do you agree that things might improve by the end of the year or next year? The people want to know. All right, let's see. So the car market will be the first indicator, right? And Mitch says, I don't consider that a decrease. It sucks. I don't consider it a decrease, though. I kind of agree with you. Because your income is increasing, but your expenditures are also increasing as well, which would it's not a decrease in income. It's just an increase in how much money you have to spend. So yeah, it's not. I don't think it's a decrease in income. It's just a your spending is just increasing faster than your income is increasing, which is unfortunate. And your car says, you just have to eat that. It really doesn't matter in the large scheme of things. Oh, that's so depressing. And Mitch says, I agree. So many people, new cars in general, but can't afford them. Did you see the clips about like people spending $1,000 on their car note and stuff like that? And that's not even including insurance and gas, or maybe they have an EV. I don't know. But it says, I haven't even really saw anyone get new cars after they taxes. That's a good point. And the car says, because of financing institutions, cars are the easiest things to finance. That's true. So when the lending starts again at lower rates, it will be the signal that banks are being more lenient. That is a very, very good point. You look like Urkel. Is that how that's spelled? Yeah, that's how it's spelled. Yes. He was a genius. All right. He was a genius. Okay. And it says, this will trickle over to the housing and the hospitality industry. Interesting. And Mitch says, my spidey senses are telling me, oh, his spidey senses. That's, I'll put it like this. I trust Mitch's spidey senses way more than I trust the people that we see on these political channels, these so-called news channels. So I'll go with Mitch on this one. And then people will pay down their credit debt to get their credit scores back in good standing because interest rates are lower. All right. Your car, you might be pushing it. You might be pushing it when you say people are going to pay down their credit debt. I don't know about that. Like, they never paid their student loan debt. I'm just saying, because soon we're going to be asking, can we just have debt forgiveness in general? Just forgive all of the debt. Because then we'll be back to 2012 all over again. Because the cycle is wow. And because rate of inflation is so high, it's not keeping up with 2% raises. That is true. If inflation is at 6% and you get a 2% raise, it doesn't make sense. All right. It doesn't make sense. All right. And let's see. So Mitch says on Audi, Mercedes, ranges, those types of cars are normally 800 to 1300 plus. I don't know. What about like, I heard somebody was paying like $1,000 for a Tahoe or something like that. For what about like the Dodge Hellcats and what about the hood car? What about the hood cars? All right. What about the hood cars? Because you gotta have the Hemi. You gotta have the Hemi. But what you are speaking of is people paying $1,000 or $100,000 for Camrys and Nissans, and I don't know if people are gonna pay that much for it. But it says Urkel had a split personality called Stefan. Stefan was the Mac, but Urkel was the genius. And I'm gonna go for genius over the Mac any day, because remember when he had to switch back to Steve, and he was not smart enough to figure out how to fix that time machine, or not the time. It wasn't a time machine. It was I don't know. We'll call it a split personality machine. We'll call it that. All right. And if it says not so far, I knew you would say that. All right. Let's get into our next topic for today. We are going to be talking about why are you calling me? Give me just 1 second here. Let me mute this for a second, see what's going on. All right. Anyways, let's keep going. So the next thing that we have up, so we have screen right. All right. So we have the U.S. Bureau releasing key housing market indicators, including the number of new single-family homes sold and the number of new building permits issued by the government. All right, so let's get into that. Let's see what that's all about. So before we do that, what is this report, right? So the Census Bureau's key housing market indicator are important numbers that tell us about housing markets. A simple breakdown. These are numbers that show us how many houses are being built, sold, and lived in. They are collected by an organization called the Census Bureau. What are the indicators? So we have the new home sales, how many new houses are being sold, housing starts, how many new houses are being built, and building permits, how many permissions are being given to build new houses. Why should this matter? They help us understand if there are enough houses for people to live in. If many new houses are being built and sold, it means the housing market is strong and the economy is doing well. If fewer houses are being sold, it might mean the economy is slowing down. These indicators are like a report card for the housing market, showing us if there are enough houses being built and sold and helping us understand the overall health of the economy. All right, so let's take a look at that real quick, and then we'll get back to it. So this was released on June 26, 2024. So basically a quick snapshot. In May of 2024, new houses sold was 619,000. New houses for sale is 481,000, and the median sales price was 417,000. So, if I remember correctly, I wish I had. Let's keep reading because I'm kind of remembering what it was in April, right? But sales of new single-family houses in May were 2024. In May of 2024, were at a seasonally adjusted annual rate of 619,000, according to the estimates released jointly today by the U.S. Census Bureau and the Department of Housing and Urban Development. This is 11.3% below the revised rate of 698,000 and 16.5% below of May of 2023 estimate of 741,000. So the new so the sales of new family homes in May of 2023 was 741,000. In May of 2024, it's 619,000. So that is about over 100,000 less, about 120,000 less, 122,000 less, and that from April of 2024, we are at about almost 80,000 less, right? So that is a big jump. That is a big decrease, right? The sales price, the median sales price of new houses sold in May of 2024 was 417,000. The average sales price was 520,000. So average is like when you take all the houses up together and you divide it by the total, and the median is like you have a list of all the homes that were sold and the ones that fall right in the middle. So you might have had a home sold for like $20 billion, right? And you had a home sold for $1. And you had a home in the middle sold for 417,400. That would be the median price, regardless of what the highest price was sold, what the lowest price was sold. The average would be you take the $2 billion home or the $20 billion home, the $1 home, and the 417,400, and you add those all together, you divide it by 3. There you'd get your average. So the average was 520. See that I know from math. I know that I know math. I know me some math. All right, and so you have the average and you have the median here, right? For sales, inventory, and month supply, the seasonally adjusted estimates for new houses for sale at the end of May was 481,000. This represents a supply of 9.3 months at the current sales rate. So what does that actually tell us? So if we go back to this right here, it looks like it's kind of slowing down. Fewer houses are being sold, which is an indication that the economy might be slowing down. Mitch, correct me if I'm wrong. Am I reading that the housing market is slowing down? Meaning like there are fewer homes being built and sold, meaning that the economy might be slowing down. That's what I'm reading here. I could be wrong, but that is our housing and our Census Bureau key housing market indicators for the month of May 2024. All right, so let's see what the chat has to say about that. And let's see. And before we even get to the chat, we got my guy in the building, Telltale Woke. What's good with you? What's happening? What's up? What's happening? And I got your message in the Patreon last night. I didn't get a chance to get into the Patreon to respond, but I saw it. I'm going to respond to you. And we got to do what we got to do. Just keep on moving forward, and we're going to win regardless in the end. And we're going to build that experience. All right. So I saw your message. I'm going to get back to you. Do not worry about that. And so Mitch said, where we left off, Mitch said, let's not forget, you can have an 800 credit score and still pay that price. Your credit score only determines the interest rate. Because, I want to put zero down. I don't want to put anything down. I just want to go in there, say, I want that car right there, and I just want to pay $2,000 a month. And then I want to make a YouTube video talking about how I can't afford it, because that's what we do. We make bad decisions and we make YouTube videos about complaining about how the man is holding us down. And your car says, they buying Land Rovers and doling them up like urban survival vehicles. Hey, times are hard out here. Your car, you never know who's gonna run up on you. You gotta make it like bulletproof, and you gotta make it like ride high, so like in case you need to like drive through water or through the Everglades. What if you have to drive through the Everglades down here? You know, I'm just saying your car. Let's see. So Mitch says, so those Hellcats, etc., can be 60 to 100K. So that's why they are paying those prices. But yes, people in Honda's Camrys are still paying $400 to $800, maybe more, for a cheaper car. It's hard out here for a, and we got Telltale, and it says, your car, they living in them, talking about van life, Tesla life. How about those living in their Tesla? How about those living in their Chevy Cavalier with a cat and with IBS?
Bruh.
If you don't know what IBS is, don't even look it up. don't do an image search. I'm just saying, it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. All right. So your car says, we need Flintstone cars if we really want to be energy efficient. And you'll be very, very healthy as well, because you'll get your feet moving to push the car along. I'm just saying, all right. And Mitch says, Mitch says, can't mess with my sneakers and definitely not doing it barefoot. Because, Mitch, were you the type of somebody step on your shoes, you ready to fight, huh? Were you like, you stepped on my nice Air Force Ones, my white Air Force Ones. That means I have to put on my black Air Force Ones because you about to catch these hands. Your car says, they paying a mortgage for them, so they might as well live in them.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
It happens. And it says, I can't drive my house so people can see. So I have a $2,000 month car payment so people can see me driving in circles, driving fancy whips, living in. See, but my biggest concern is, Mitch, what if somebody steals your house? What if they steal your house? That's unfortunate. You get you go into Walmart to get something, and then you come out and you're like, oh my God, they just stole my house. It's tough. That's tough. See, and you know what? For Mitch, your car's right.
How dare you?
How dare you, Mitch, trying to get people's houses stolen from them, And Mitch says, I think single homes are going to be obsolete and go for more multi-family development communities. I agree with you until you start living with your family, and then you're like, whew, I got to get out of here. I cannot do this. Nope, no bueno. People have these ideas, because a lot of people, they live with the family because they have no choice. But a lot of times they're miserable living with their family because there's no space. Like, everyone's in your business, and they're like giving you their opinions and their insight. And then somebody wants to be the one who's the leader in charge and stuff like that. They're like, oh, we need to get a compound these. I'm just saying, like, it sounds good in theory until you actually have to practically live with these people. And you're like, nah, not happening. And your car says, I guess buying another Lamborghini wasn't enough. Too scared to put it on the streets, And housing market has been slowing down for a long time since President Biden, put some respect on his name, your car, since President Biden got into office, all right? And it says the housing market has been slowed down only big corporations have mainly been buying apartment buildings, multifamily dwellings. And yes, so Mitch is trying to, you know what? YouTube needs to add a edit comment feature, like edit chat comment, so that you can fix your typos, and then you don't have to have typos showing up when you get featured on a clip. I'm just saying, all right? And Mitch says, that's what I did. I told you I'm not paying $2K a month though. We know you're not paying $2K a month. And BlackRock alone was holding up the commercial real estate until the bubble burst. And it says, I wouldn't want to say their name, but yup, them for sure. I didn't want, okay, gotcha. And your car's like, I have no fear whatsoever. And your car says, that's what Tony Montana said in Scarface. Put the fog light on. Yeah, in case we got to drive through the swamp or something. Shout out to Tony Montana. Shout out to Scarface. Say hello to my little friend. I'm just saying. One of my favorite movies of all time, right? And we got my guy in the building. We got Slimmy. My favorite sound. The price is wrong, Bob. What up, though, y'all? What up, Slimmy? What's happening, Slimmy? What's good? Only towards you. Right. What's that? What's that mean? What is that? What is only towards me, Mitch? Come on, Mitch. Let's be amicable. Let's be amicable here, all right? It says, still your house. Oh, I finally got some praise on my joke. It's not even my joke though. It's a stolen joke. I stole that joke from Anton, right? But yeah, still your house. You get out of the parking lot and your house is gone, you know? And your car says, when the economy gets better, more people will get married and have kids. I don't know, your car. I don't know. Because they still having kids. Getting married part, I don't know, because your car, you know, they can do bad all by themselves. They can do bad. Oh man, I just thought of something. So yesterday, real quick, right? We're driving and my wife is talking to a family member in the car, and she's telling her that story about the. She modified it for the husband store thing, and she's talking about, you know, the first floor, and like, oh, the guy has this quality, and oh no, I'm gonna get to the second floor, and the guy has this quality on the second floor, I'm gonna get to the third floor, has this quality, and it's all the qualities. Like, oh, you know what? There must be something better on the fourth floor, right? So he goes to the fourth floor, and it's like, oh, sorry, there's no guys here, and like you lost your chance. And I said, and then you know what she said after that? This is what she said after that. She goes, you know what? It's okay. I can do bad all by myself. Just saying. I'm just saying. All right. And it says, no, I don't mean living with your family. I just mean those type of places. Oh, okay. All right. I got you. Because, you know, people be trying like, oh, you know, we should all live together. I'm like, what? Ain't happening. Sorry. You can come visit for like 3 hours. But then you got to go. You got to go. All right. You got to go. Unless, you know, it's your kid and you guys have very good plans in place of what if you're on the same page and you have plans in place, then cool, because we're working together, we're in business together. But if you want me to just come in and nope, because things are gonna happen. Things are going to happen. All right. And it says it's normal for it to be more single homes when times are hard. Fair. And Ralph is having flashbacks. You know, they definitely do. And it says, Florida like Jumanji, and you got to deal with stepmom. Nope, I'm good on that. And it's no fear, just no free promos. No free promos. See, Mitch is like, we are holding, we're like, not happening, right? And it says, if you step on my sneakers, you catching these hands. Where no one's trying to catch these hands, all right? And your car says, Mitch, always get 2 pairs of your favorites. That way, you don't have to lay the smack down on someone for stepping on them. But here's a problem with that, your car. Here's a problem. If you have 2 pairs, right? Then, if you have 2 pairs, then you still have one that becomes dirty. So now you only have 1 clean pair. My dad, he told it's a true joke. It's a true joke, right? He said, when he was a child, right? Long time ago. And I don't know if it was like, it was either food or like money or something like that. Maybe it was a quarter, right? Growing up in Haiti a long time ago. And so let's say he had a quarter. Let's go with the quarter, right? He had a quarter. And he said he lost his quarter. So now someone says, oh, you lost your quarter? Here's another quarter, right? And so he gets a quarter and he still looks sad. And they're like, why are you sad? He's like, well, if I didn't lose my quarter, I would have had 2 quarters. I would have had 50 cents. So just because you have 2 and one of them goes bad, that doesn't mean you're not sad about not having 2. You know what I mean? I gave my son yesterday a little monster card thingy, and we opened the package and I gave it to him and I'm like, let me see it. He's like, no, it's mine. I'm like, what? Like, I can't see it. Like, no, it's mine. Because we don't like, I would rather just buy 1 pair and not have somebody mess it up instead of having to buy 2 pairs and somebody still messes up 1, right? I'm just saying, all right? And let's go with this last 2. It says, after that water, that company's sales probably went up. And last, he says, did they send us our dividends? Did they? Anyhow, all right, let's get to our next topic of today. We are going to jump down to the Bureau of Economic Analysis. So let's get over here. And so the Bureau of Economic Analysis, BEA, final gross domestic product, GDP, a reading for the first quarter. All right. So before we even do that, let's because we never actually broke down what GDP is. Right. So let's take a quick look about GDP. So gross domestic product. What is gross domestic product? The definition of gross domestic product is like the scorecard for a country's economy. It tells us the total value of everything, all the goods and services produced within a country in 1 year. Yukar, if you could do me a favor, if you could put like a quick breakdown of how the GDP is in relation to the spending of like the defense spending that a country contributes to NATO, right? Because there's some correlation between the GDP and the NATO contributions, right? So if you can just like maybe 1 or 2 lines of how just get a quick understanding. So from what we were talking about before, but I'm going to go through this, right? So breaking it down, goods are things you can touch and see, like cars, books, and toys. Services are activities that people do for others, like teaching, haircuts, and medical checkups. Why is GDP important? Measuring economic health, GDP helps us understand how well a country's economy is doing. When GDP is high, it means that people are producing and buying lots of things. When GDP is low, it means the economy might be in trouble and people might be producing and buying less. Comparing countries. GDP allows us to compare the size and health of different countries' economies. For example, if one country has a higher GDP than another, it generally means it has a stronger economy. Government decisions. Governments use GDP to make important decisions. For example, if GDP is growing, they might decide to build more schools and hospitals. If GDP is shrinking, they might look for ways to boost the economy. So for business planning, businesses look at GDP to decide whether to expand, hire more workers, or invest in new projects. Higher GDP usually means good times for businesses, while low GDP can signal tougher times ahead, right? So an example of GDP. So imagine a lemonade stand. If your neighborhood lemonade stand makes 100 cups of lemonade in a year and sells each for $1, the GDP of the lemonade stand is $100, right? So that means 100 cups a year, they sell each for $1. So that's $100 for the GDP. For the lemonade stand, combining lots of lemonade stands. And now imagine there are 10 lemonade stands in the neighborhood and they sell at the same amount. The total GDP for all lemonade stands is 1,000. So you just add everything up. This gives us a bigger picture of the neighborhood's lemonade economy. So in summary, GDP is like a big scorecard that shows how much stuff a country makes a year. It's important because it helps us understand the health of the economy, compare different countries, and makes decisions for the future, right? So let's see. If we could break this down, to another term. Let's say to urban terms, maybe, right? So, let's see. Let's replace two of these right here. If your neighborhood, let's go to like this, right? Let's say if your neighborhood, dope house, makes 100 dime bags, I don't know, using wire terminology here, and sells each for $10. The GDP of the dope house is $1,000, right? I mean, this is our Urban Dictionary of Economic Data, right? All right, so let's say imagine a dope house. We're doing this in real time. This might have to be edited out. I don't know. We're doing this in real time, right? Combining lots of, let's say you own a bunch of dope houses, right? Or don't own it, but you know what I mean. Now imagine there are 10 dope houses. Making it so I can understand this, right? In the neighborhood, and they all sell for the same amount. The total GDP of all the dope houses would be, so we have, we have, let's say we do 10, we add another, let's see. Would that be accurate? Let me see. So we do 10 times 1,000. We add another. Yeah, so it would be 10,000. This gives us a bigger picture of the neighborhood's dope house economy. How about that? Does that example make sense? I don't know. Let's see. Let us see. So that's what GDP is. Calculating all of the, how much stuff you make in a year, right? So now let's get back to this. And so we got the GDP. So we pretty much broke down what the GDP is, what kind of information is included in this final gross domestic product reading. It says consumer spending, money people spend on goods and services, business investment, money businesses spend on equipment and buildings, government spending, the money the government spends on services and infrastructure, and net exports. Why is it important? It helps us understand how fast the economy is growing. If GDP is increasing, that means the economy is growing and generally doing well. If GDP is decreasing, it means the economy is slowing down and shrinking, which can be a sign of trouble. It's like a report card for the whole economy, showing us how much economic activity is happening and helping us understand if the economy is growing or shrinking. All right. So let's see here. All right, let's check the chat real quick, and then we're going to, let's catch up. So, says, when I'm saying no, but after it was mentioned, sales probably went up. Let's see. So your car is helping me out with this question. It says, contributing 2% of each country's national budget is agreed upon by NATO. Since the U.S. has the biggest economy as a country, our 2% is worth more than all of the rest of NATO. And that sounds like that is our 70, not our 100%, but our 71%. Like, give me a break, right? And it says, and Mitch says, I am not a part of these topics. I want to be on the record. Mitch does not approve. Mitch is like, what's a dope house? What's a dime bag? I don't know. I don't know. I just heard it in the wire. And I'm like, oh, we'll use that as an example. Mitch, I have absolutely no idea either. And your car says that's why President Trump told NATO countries to put more in, because the U.S. 2% was paying for 71% of NATO budget. Like, and here's a question, your car. If you know, all right, so let me go back. Where did we see this thing? Let's go back over here, right? It said during the 2014 summit, right? All NATO members agreed to spend at least 2% of their GDPs on defense by 2025. Who makes this agreement that says if we know that our GDP, like that would be contributing like 71%, why would you agree to that? Like, is it me? Am I off? Like, why would you agree to this 2% if it's going to be like paying the whole thing? You know what I mean? Like that kind of confused. Anyways, like that confused me, but let's keep going. So, let's see what else we got. So your car is breaking down to Mitch and to me, because I have no idea what I was saying, right? A dope house is like Walgreens, CVS, and the hospital. A dime bag is a bag full of dimes from the bank. So it's exactly what it sounds like. Okay, cool. All right, we're not. See, it's exactly what it said. That's exactly what I thought. All right. Wink, 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 wink. And it says, "I see what you did there." He just told us the truth. He just told exactly what it is, right? The dope house is, CVS, Walmart too included, Publix, Walgreens, if there's any left, the hospital, and the dime bag is, it's what you get from the bank. Exactly. Thank you for clearing that up for us, Yakar. All right, so let's take a look at this report. We have way. All right, so here's the problem, right? They told us that this information was supposed to be boring, but why are we having so much fun? Why are we having so much fun reviewing this information, right? So, gross domestic, I said gromestic. Talk about putting words together. Gross domestic product, third estimate, corporate profits, revised estimate, GDP by industry, first quarter, right? So, quarter 1, 2024, third, so plus 1.4, and Q4 of 2023 plus 3.4. So, am I misunderstanding? All right, because is it me? Real gross domestic product, GDP, increased at an annual rate of 1.4% in the first quarter of 2024. According to the third estimate, in the fourth quarter of 2023, real GDP increased at 3.4%. The increase in the first quarter primarily reflected increase in consumer spending, housing investments, business investments, and state and local governments were partly offset by a decrease in inventory investment. Imports, which were a subtraction in the calculation of GDP, increased. So, this sounds bad. I always heard that like GDP being around like 2% was like good. 3% was like, wow. Consecutive 3% was amazing. But 1.4%, what? Am I wrong on this? Is that an L? Did we lose? So let's see what this says. Let me see, current release. So let's see. So increase at our annual rate of 1.4% in the first quarter. Let's do a quick Google search. Is a GDP increase of 1.4% good? Let's see. For a developed economy, an annual GDP growth rate of 2% to 3% is considered normal. Therefore, any GDP growth above the said rate is strong signal that the economy is expanding. So, what does that mean for a 1.4? I don't know. All right, so let's keep going. Sounds bad to me, though. Sounds bad to me. All right, where were we? So we're here. All right, so the GDP estimate released today is based more on complete source data than were available for the second estimate issued last month. In the second estimate, the increase in real GDP was 1.3%. The upward revision primarily reflected a downward revision to imports, which are a subtraction in the calculation of GDP, and upward revision to non-residential fixed investments and government spending. These revisions were partly offset by a downward revision to consumer spending, updates to GDP. The increase, so let's take a look at this real quick. real GDP percent change from preceding quarters. Can't really see what that's telling us. Q2, right when the pandemic was happening, it took a flat drop. All right, it says the increase in real GDP primarily reflected increases in consumer spending, residential fixed investment, non-residential fixed investment, and state and local government spending that were partly offset by a decrease in private inventory investment. Compared to the fourth quarter, the deceleration in real GDP primarily reflected deceleration in consumer spending reports, exports, and state and local government spending, and downward turn in federal government spending. These improvements were partly offset by an acceleration in residential fixed investments. Import accelerated. Let's see. Current dollar GDP increased 4.5% at an annual rate, 312 billion in the first quarter to a level of 28.27 trillion, an upward revision of 13.2 billion from the previous estimate. The more information on the source data that underlie the estimate is available in the key source data and assumptions file on BEA's website. The price index for gross domestic purchase increased 3.1% in the first quarter, an upward revision of 0.1% points from the previous estimate. The personal consumption expenditure, the price index, increased 3.4%, an upward revision of 0.1% percentage points, excluding food and energy. The PCE price index increased 3.7%, an upward revision of 0.1 percentage points. All right. So, personal income. Current personal dollar income increased 396.8 billion in the first quarter, a downward revision of 7.7 billion from the previous estimate. The increase primarily reflected increases in compensation led by private wages and salaries, and personal current transfer receipts led by government social benefits to persons. Disposable personal income increased to 240.2 billion, or 4.8%, or 4.8% in the first quarter, a down revision of 26.6 billion from the previous estimate. Real disposable personal income increased 1.3%, a down revision of 0.6%. Personal savings was 777.3 billion in the first quarter, a down revision of 19.3 billion from the previous estimate. The personal savings rate, a personal savings as a percentage of disposable income, was 3.8% in the first quarter, the same as the previous estimate. All right. So next up, we have the gross domestic income and corporate profits. Real gross domestic income, GDI, increased 1.3% in the first quarter, a downward revision of 0.2% from the previous estimate. The average of real GDP and real GDI, a supplemental measure in the U.S. economic activity, equally weighs GDP and GDI, increased 1.4% in the first quarter, the same as the previous estimate. Profits from current production, corporate profits with inventory valuation and capital consumption adjustments decreased 47.1 billion in the first quarter, a down revision of 26 billion from the previous estimate. These numbers are doing a lot of manipulating. Everything is going downward. This is crazy. This is crazy, right? But the profits are down by a lot, which also shows why companies might be laying off a lot of people. Profits of domestic financial corporations increased 65 billion in the first quarter, a downward revision of 8.7 billion from the previous estimate. Profits of domestic non-financial corporations decreased 114.5 billion, a downward revision of 0.3 billion. The rest of the world profits increased 2.3 billion, a downward revision of 17 billion. In the first quarter, receipts increased 25.7 billion, payments increased 23.4 billion dollars. All right. Updates to GDP. With the third estimate, a downward revision to imports and upward revision to non-residential fixed investments, states and local government spending, exports, federal government spending, private inventory investment, and residential fixed investments were partly offset by a downward revision to consumer spending. For more information, check the technical note. For more information on GDP, refer to the additional information section that follows, right? So, real GDP by industry. Today's release, let's check the chat real quick. Let's check the chat, right? Let's check the chat really, really quick, okay? We got, let's see. So Yakar says, we bear the biggest burden, so we get the most say. But they be trying to act up, though. They be trying to act up. I'm just saying, all right? And it says, why you keep saying that about Walgreens? They are all around. Well, in South Florida, they close all, like there are not that many Walgreens anymore in South Florida. Maybe up in Jersey, there might be more, but down here, there's not that many. Like, they close a lot down here. I can drive by, oh, there used to be a Walgreens here, there used to be a Walgreens here, there used to be a Walgreens there. CVS's don't close as much though, from down here at least, right? And your car says, because they are closing like 25% of their stores, there are plenty of them around though, so it must be a Florida thing. They might not have a lot of them there. We used to have so many, like there used to be a Walgreens like almost every corner, but now it's not that many. It's not that many. And they used to be open 24 hours. There's one like right down the street from my house, but a lot of other ones that were around, they closed down. But there's a lot more CVS's down here now. And because I know, but he says it a lot. He must have Nah, I don't care nothing about Walgreens. I have no feelings towards Walgreens whatsoever. He might like CVS more. I do not like CVS more because when I call their pharmacy, you're on hold for like 30 minutes. At least the one that's close to us, it's a mess. It's a mess, all right? And downward revisions, always a downward revision on GDP. Yup, you got that right. And that says, and always an upward revision on unemployment. It is what it is. Personal income, downward revision. Personal savings rate, downward revision.
Bruh.
They lie to you. They lie to us every single freaking time.
I hate it here. I want to go home.
Mitch says, wrong information. It should be a felony to get the numbers wrong. Side note. There was a Biden rally yesterday. Well, rally. And the crowd started to chant, lock him up. And I was like, really? You guys really want to go get into that? Let's not do that. Let's not go there again. You know, because it's about, oh, he's going to be a dictator on day one and all this stuff. And all right. If you want to lock people up, we can lock people up. I'm just saying, all right? And Mitch said, agreed, of course, will never be on point, but it's completely off. I think something should be done about it. The people who can do things about it, they're not going to be doing it because they're like, I'm not going to spend my time doing this when I can be making money. Here
comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
Here comes the money. And your car says, lock Hunter up. Hey, what's good for the goose is also good for the gander. I forgot how you get always to the last word. You forgot what the last word is, right? And it says, lock who up? President Biden? Well, he probably will get locked up, but probably not in a jail cell, but maybe in a retirement home or something. I don't know. But anyways, let's not get into that. And per your car's request,
Money.
there we go. All right, so let's see. Let's finish this one up. Real GDP by industry. Let's see. Today's estimates include estimates of GDP by industry or value added, a measure of an industry's contribution to GDP. Private goods producing industries decrease of 1.1%. Private sector producing industries increased 1.9%. So producing industries decreased 1.1%. Private services producing increased 1.9%. And government increased. Government is always increasing. shout out to our tax dollars at work, right? Increased 2.3%. Overall, 15 of the 22 industry groups contributed to the first quarter increase. Within private goods producing industries, the leading contributor of the decrease were durable goods manufacturing, led by primary metal, and non-durable goods manufacturing, led by petroleum and coal. These decreases were partly offset by an increase in construction. Within private services producing industries, the private contributions to the increase were retail trades, led by motor vehicles and parts dealers, finance and insurance, led by Federal Reserve Bank, credit intermediation, and related activities. What's credit intermediation? Is it like credit relief thing? I don't know. And healthcare and social assistance, led by ambulatory health services. The increase in government reflected increases in both state and local as well as federal, all right? And then we have a little chart here that shows all this increase and decrease and stuff like that. And gross domestic product, gross output by industry, real gross output. The principally a measure of an industry's sales or receipts, which include sales to final users in the economy, GDP, and sales to other industries, intermediate inputs, increased 2.5% in the first quarter. Private goods producing industries increased 1.2%. Private services producing industries increased 3.1%, and government increased 1.7%. Overall, 14 out of 22 industries contributed to the increase in real gross output. All right, so shout out to that. Let's get to our full screen. Get some water. And let's see, we got 20 minutes left. Let's see how far we can get in these next 20 minutes. Whatever we don't get to today, we can probably roll over to next week, hopefully. Next week should be a slow week because it is 4th of July week. So it should be a slow week on our numbers. And we can, like, if we don't finish up today, we can finish it up next week because still got a lot of work to do this today, you know. So let's keep going. And let's see here. What do we have up next? We have the report on durable goods. So let's take a look at the chat. And Mitch says gander. Okay, I was right. Gander, yeah. What's good for the goose is also good for the gander. And Mitch says, Ralph has some funny jokes today. That is a first. Remember Steve used to say it to Urkel. Jesus Christ. Steve used to say to Laura, I'm wearing you down. I'm wearing you down. That's what I'm talking about. And your car says, I never see a downward revision on government spending. Those are always upward revisions. We're going all the way up. Hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. And it says basically banking and money services that facilitate the credit lending. Okay. Like our payday cash advances, right? Our payday cash advances, the predators, you know, I honestly think all lending is pretty much predatory lending. You know, I'm going to take it back. All lending is predatory lending because a lot of people aren't going to pay it back, you know, and now you turn yourself into the prey. You turn yourself into the prey. And it says, pause. Oh my goodness.
We the best.
All right, let's get to our your car with the no diddy. Too much. All right. Let's get into, let's see, what else do we have left? We have the durable goods report. We have the May's personal consumption expenditure, and then we have universe. So we have like 3 left, but we'll probably end up rolling over the University of Michigan one. And yeah, so let's keep going. So let's get to our next one. All right, so the Census Bureau released the monthly report on durable goods, which measures manufacturing activity. So what is this report, right? It gives us information about products that are made to last a long time. Durable, yes, lasts a long time. So what is it? This report tells us how many durable goods are being ordered by companies. Durable goods are things like cars, appliances, and machinery that last for at least 3 years. Okay, cool. Good to know. Good to know. So some examples of durable goods: cars and trucks, washing machines and refrigerators, airplanes and trains, computers and equipment. Why is it important? It helps us understand how well factories and companies are doing. If more durable goods are being ordered, that it means that companies expect to sell more and are feeling confident about the economy. If fewer durable goods are being ordered, it means companies are worried about the economy and are not buying as much. So it's like checking the health of big purchases in manufacturing, showing us if companies are buying more durable goods, which helps us understand how strong or weak the economy might be. There are a lot of economic indicators from what we're seeing here, right? So let's go into this report, see what we got. So May of 2024, it's 283 billion. And April was 282 billion, so it went up a little bit. All right, so new orders for manufactured durable goods in May, up 4 consecutive months, increased 0.3 billion or 0.1% to 283.1 billion. The U.S. Census Bureau announced today. This followed a 0.2% of April increase, so it increased more in April than it did in May. Excluding transportation, and new orders decreased 0.1%. So transportation and new orders were transportation was the big push, I guess, right? Excluding defense, new orders decreased 0.2%. So it went down, including if you leave out defense. Transportation equipment up 3 of the last 4 months drove the increase 0.5 billion or 0.6%. To 95.4 billion. All right, and that's it. That's a pretty quick one. Cool. I'm good with that. I am good with that. So let's see. Let's go back to full screen. And let's see what else we got going over here. Let's see. So we got that. Cool. So in that case, we will move on to our personal consumption expenditure index. Coffee's getting cold. All right. All right, so let's see, what time is it? 11, it's 11 on the dot. Cool. All right, we're doing good. So let's see. So let's go to screen. The U.S. Department of Commerce will release May's personal consumption expenditure, the Fed's preferred inflation measure. The report measures changes in price of goods and services, excluding food and energy. So it tells us about the price people pay for goods and services. So the PCE index, personal consumption expenditure index, measures how much money people are spending on goods and services. It shows how prices change over time for things people buy. What kind of spending? It includes spending on things like food, groceries, and dining out, housing, rent and utilities, healthcare, doctor visits and medicines, entertainment, movies, and sports events, right? Why does it matter? Why should we care? It helps us understand inflation, which is how much prices are going up. If the PCE index shows that prices are rising quickly, it means people are paying more for the same things, which can be a sign of inflation. If prices are stable or rising slowly, it means inflation is low, which is generally good for the economy, right? So the PCE is like a report card for the cost of living, showing us how much people are spending and how prices are changing, helping us understand inflation and the overall economic health, all right? So let's go to this one. So personal incomes and outlays of May 2024. Personal income increased 114.1 billion, a 0.5% at a monthly rate in May, according to estimates released by the Bureau of Economic Analysis, BEA. Disposable income, DPI, personal income less current taxes increased 94 billion, 0.5%, and a personal consumption expenditure increased 47.8 billion. The PCE price index decreased less than 0.1%, excluding food and energy. The PCE increased 0.1%. So excluding food and energy, it went up, but including food and energy, it decreased, all right? Real DPI increased 0.5% in May, and real PCE increased 0.3%. Goods increased 0.6%, and services increased 0.1%. All right, so this is the chart for that. So let's read this. The increase in current dollar personal income in May primarily reflected increases in compensation. And around this time, around February, March, April, that's when people start getting their raises, because that's like a new fiscal year for the companies. So the increase in current dollar, it increased. The increase in current dollar personal income in May reflected by increase in compensation, personal income, receipts on assets, and government social benefits, right? So we read that earlier. So like the money they get from the government, things like that. The 47.8 billion increase in current dollar PCE in May reflected an increase of 34.2 billion in spending for services and 13.6 billion increase in spending for goods. Within services, the largest contributor to the increase were healthcare, led by hospitals, housing and utility, led by housing, and transportation services, led by air transportation. So a lot of people are taking flights, right? They're catching a flight. They are catching a flight. Tell me about that, all right? So within goods, the increase primarily reflected an increase in non-durable goods led by prescription drugs that are partly offset by a decrease in gasoline and other energy goods, all right? Detailed information on monthly PCE spending can be found on the table. Personal outlays, the sum of PCE, personal interest payments, and personal current transfer payments increased 56.4 billion in May. Personal savings was 806.1 billion in May. And the personal savings rate, personal savings as a percentage of disposable income was 3.9%, which is kind of low. The amount you're saving as a percentage of disposable personal income. So prices from the preceding month, the PCE price index for May decreased less than 0.1%. Prices for goods decreased 0.4%, and prices for services increased 0.2%. Food prices increased 0.1%, and energy prices decreased 2.1%. Excluding food and energy, the PCE price index increased 0.1%. Detailed monthly PCE can be found in that table over there. From the same month 1 year ago, the PCE price index for May increased 2.6%. Prices for goods decreased 0.1%, and prices for services increased 3.9%. Food prices increased 1.2%, and energy prices increased 4.7%. Excluding food and energy, the PCE price index increased 2.6% from a year ago. All right. Let's see what else is on this here. So yeah, we can just finish reading this out. So a real PCE, the 0.3% increase in real PCE in May reflected an increase of 0.6% in spending on goods and 0.1% spending on services. Within goods, the largest contributor to the increase was recreational goods and vehicles, led by computer software and accessories. Within services, the largest contributor to the increase were transportation services, led by air transportation, and healthcare, led by outpatient services. And that's where we find the detailed PCE readings. Updated to personal income and outlays. Estimates have been updated for January through April. Revised and previously published changes from the preceding months for current dollar personal income and for current dollar and chained $2017 DPI, PCE, and provided below for March and April, right? So these are the numbers here, how they change and stuff like that. So that is that one. That was a mouthful. That was a mouthful, all right? Well, it looks like we have time for the last one, apparently, which is going to be our University of Michigan, which that one's going to be really, really quick. So looks like we're good. We're good on time. We're good on everything, all right? So, all right. So we're going to get into the University of Michigan, our very last one for today. I didn't think we were going to make it. I did not think we were going to make it. But look, here we are. We are winning. Let me see. Okay, cool. So let's get to our very, very last topic. And then we're going to wrap it up with the chat, say our goodbyes and all that good stuff, you know. So let's go to here. All right, so the last one is the University of Michigan. releasing the final reading of June Consumer Sentiment Index, which measures how Americans feel. You know, we love feelings over here. We love feelings. Which measures how Americans feel about the current and future economic conditions, right? So what is it, right? So the Consumer Sentiment Index is a survey that asks people how they feel about their finances and the economy. It's created by the University of Michigan. Shout out to the University of Michigan. So what questions do they ask, right? So how do you feel about your current financial situation? Are you going to say, here's a question. I would put it like this. I would say on the survey, if it was my survey, and I think if it was Mitch's survey and your car survey as well, they would say, so you have the two options to choose from. Do you hit the soundbite for?
I'm in a bind, Nate.
Or do you hit the soundbite for?
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, money.
So that's how I would run my survey. You choose which one is it, right? Which one is it? How do you feel about your current financial situation? Do you think your finances will get better or worse in the next year? How do you feel about the overall economy right now, right? And why is this important to us? Why should we care? At the end of the day, why the hell do I care? Why the hell do I care, right? So it helps us understand if people are feeling confident or worried about the economy. If people feel confident, they are more likely to spend money, which can help the economy grow. If people feel worried, they might save their money instead, which can slow down the economy, right? So it's like a mood check. How do you feel about it? How do you feel about the economy, right? So let's take a look at it before we wind down for the night, all right? For the day. It's early. It's only 11 o'clock. It is 8:09 for your car over there. It's 11:09 for Mitch and I over here on the West Coast. Jesus Christ, on the West Coast. On the East Coast, all right? On the East Coast. So let's get to it. So we got the index of consumer sentiment. It is 68.2. It is down. It's down bad. It is down bad. 68.2. It was 69.1 index of consumer sentiment. Current economic conditions 65.9. It was 69.6 back in May. It went up slightly in May. And now it is 69. So in an index of consumer expectations, consumers say right now, things are bad. It's, as in the words of Mitch, it's trash. But our expectations, it might be getting better. There might be light at the end of the tunnel, all right? So let's read. So surveys of consumers, Director Joanne Su. I'm going to assume again that the H is silent. I'm going to assume, right? Could be wrong, right? So consumer sentiment held steady in June. This month's reading was a scant and statistically insignificant 0.9 index points below May and well within the margin of error. While consumers exhibited confidence that inflation will continue to moderate, many expressed concerns about the effect of high prices and weakening incomes on their personal finances. These trends offset the improvements in the short and long run. Outlook for business and conditions stemming in part from expectations for softening interest rates. Still, sentiment is currently about 36% above the trough seen in June 2022. Year ahead inflation expected to fall from 3.3% last month to 3% this month. In comparison, these expectations ranged 2.3 to 3% in the 2 years prior to the pandemic. Long-run inflation expectations came in at 3% for the third consecutive month and have remained remarkably stable over the last 3 years. These expectations remain somewhat elevated relative to the 2.2 to 2.6% range seen in the last 2 years pre-pandemic, all right? All these patterns are visible when looking at trends within phone interviews alone or web interviews alone, and thus they are not artifacts of the survey's methodological transition. All right, so there we have it. All right, so we're gonna wrap it up. Let's take a look at the chat before we end for tonight. What perfect timing. Perfect timing. Mitch, your car. How was the show today? How was the show today? Let's see what we got going on in the chat. So, your car says, why do I say goodbye? It's tough. It's tough out here. It's tough. You know, it's tough. Because when the show comes to an end, we got things to do. We had so much fun, but then we have to say goodbye for a moment. It's not Mitch, your car, Jesus Christ, your car. It's not goodbye. It's see you later. All right. And your car says East Coast, West Coast beef. If you don't want people all dancing in your video, you know, all, you know, putting stuff in your comments, then come over and hang out with us. Come over and hang out with us. All right. So let's see. The Source Awards back in, what was it, like 94? This was like 94. And your car says, basically, whatever good that is going on is offset by the bad that is going on. It is a big fat nothing burger. Nothing burger. Bruh. And your car said the show was absolutely fascinating. It was great, like Tony the Tiger. And Mitch says, never heard of that, talking about the Go Yard store, right? So with that being said, you guys know what we do. You guys know what we do. The question of the morning that I have for you is, what's the question of the morning? The question of the morning is?
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
Are you not entertained? I am so entertained. I am so well informed. I learned so much by going every Saturday. I learned so much. And by reading over and over and over again, what the purpose, like why should I care about this? It makes me, it retains the information. It makes me understand better. I'm super happy about going through this, understanding it a lot better, all of that good stuff. All right. So, yeah. So your card says Go Yard store is the leather goods maker. And Mitch says, I have to see it. Interesting. All right, cool. So we're going to wrap it up. You guys know, especially on the Money Show,
Money.
You guys know that yesterday's price is not today's price. Today's price is not tomorrow's price.
One more thing. Price of the brick going up.
The price of the brick is going up. And on that note, we're going to get out of here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Guess what? You guys, like, I would love to be here all day, but I can't because
It's checkout time. Gotta go. Yeah, baby. It's checkout time. Gotta go, nigga.
it's checkout time, all right? It's checkout time. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I will see you guys on live tomorrow for our Terraform work, all that good stuff. But on that note, this is Tech Coach Ralph with another Men Lie, Women Lie, Numbers Manipulate, where we review the weekly economic numbers with my guy Yakar and Mitch hanging out, talking all that good stuff. But until next time, friends, family, have a wonderful, wonderful Saturday and weekend.
You might think that getting into the IT field is impossible without a computer science degree, but Tech Coach Ralph is here to prove you wrong. Get ready for some jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into this lucrative industry. Listen up, tech enthusiasts! Are you ready to break through into the IT field, but feel like you need a computer science degree to make it happen? Think again. Tech Coach Ralph has some exclusive, mind-blowing secrets to share with you. Get ready to be blown away by his jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into the tech industry without a computer science degree. So get your notepad ready, because Tech Coach Ralph is going to change your life forever. Buckle up, because you're about to embark on a journey to success in the IT field.
Spartans! What is your profession?